What is the worst thing you've done to an ex? Guessed her password, Blink182, and deleted her MySpace. Changing my password. You done, or can I still use it? It's Blink183 now. Got remarried to a nice person. You monster. I've always been rather vindictive. Not an ex, but one time I was talking to two girls from Tinder at the same time. Unbeknownst to me, they were best friends. They must have gotten to talking and realized they were talking to the same guy. They sent me a barrage of nasty messages calling me a fuckboy and the like. I kind of just laughed it off and chalked it up as a loss. A few hours later, one of the girls texted me again. She said she wasn't mad at me, just surprised that I would pursue someone as ugly as her friend, and that she was still interested in meeting up for a date. I took a screenshot of what she wrote, sent it to the other friend, and then blocked them both. What were they giving you shit for? Did they expect that you'd immediately cease all contact with the opposite sex because they messaged you back on a hookup app? Called the cops on him. He wouldn't let me leave for a few days, and I really wanted to go home. One day, he took my car, my phone and purse, and left the house to go buy some illegal shit. I took the opportunity to run to a neighbor's house and asked them to call the police. About 5 cop cars showed up as he was pulling in the driveway. He acted all innocent, but I kept yelling at the cops that he wouldn't let me leave. Told them, "This is my car, he has my possessions." They pulled him aside and gave me the opportunity to get whatever I had to get and leave safely. Edit. Thank you all for the responses. Truly was one of the scariest experiences that I went through. Don't minimize it. You were prevented from leaving against your will and had your phone, car, and ID stolen. That's not doing something bad to an ex. That's saving yourself from becoming a victim of something awful. Was right behind her in the line at a store, and I saw her eyes go wide when she saw me, so I know she recognized me. Hadn't seen her in about 10 years and she had let herself go, so I pretended I didn't recognize her. I have done this exact thing. The girl I went out with and lost my virginity to. She was weird. She was manipulative and maybe semi-emotionally abusive, but I was young and had no idea. Probably wouldn't have cared back then either because she was hot. After she broke up with me, over the phone BTW, and never really told me why I didn't see her after that at all. Then one day, years later, I get a text from an unknown number apologizing for anything she'd done. Took me a while to figure out who it was because when I responded asking who it was, I never got a response. Then, a few years after that, I saw her in the grocery store I worked at. She walked right up to me and goes, "Hi." I stare at her a moment and give her my arbitrary smile and nod and say, "Do you need help with anything, miss?" Her face dropped and she says, "You don't remember me?" "Sorry," I said, "I don't." We are both lawyers. I found out he cheated on me. I took his lawyer's robes and hid them on a day I knew he needed them in order to appear in high court. He had to show up in front of the judge and try to explain why he didn't have his robes. Found out she cheated on me because when I went onto my computer and hit enter to log into Facebook, she used it last. So seeing a message from my friend was weird until I realized I was on hers and read it. Happened at like 1 a.m. when I got home. Had her in the car with her stuff 20 minutes later and dropped her off wailing at her mom's apartment while she begged me for another chance. Her mom was dead asleep and didn't hear her knock or call, so I left her in the rain with her stuff. She spent the next couple's years unblocking me and checking my Facebook, then blocking me again. Every guy she posted a pic with had the comment, "He treats me so much better than me." But nobody that knew us believed it because of how good I treated her. My crazy ex-boyfriend cheated on me multiple times when we were together. He never confessed to it. It was either his brothers telling me or me finding out from the girls. He would always blame me for cheating. The last 3 months of our relationship, he had a new girlfriend and I didn't find out till later. Anyways, I carved cheater on a pumpkin and put it in front of his house. Also, apparently someone sent a hooker to his house and he blamed me for it, but it wasn't me. But thank you, whoever did that. Early Wi-Fi days. Drove by her apartment during finals week in college and changed her Wi-Fi router's ID and password so she wouldn't be able to connect. We broke up because I caught her cheating on me, like caught, walked in on insertion. Was with a guy she got mad at me for being jealous of how much she had been talking to him. She started dating him right away. Years later, I ran into the guy and he told me she did it to him too, and that they were doing stuff for months before I caught them. He told me she was in a rage about the internet not working when she really needed it. If they cheat with you, they will 100% cheat on you. I feel you there too, brother. I was also victim to this. She met him on a dating site, but just to make new friends. I did absolutely nothing. I just left and never went back. That's how I left a 9-year relationship with my high school sweetheart. She had lost all joy, spent every day watching infomercials, smoking cigarettes, and drinking Coca-Cola. She never called me. I would go visit her and she seemed to not care. I left one day and promised I wouldn't call her again. Best decision I have ever made. I was working full-time and taking evening classes, so we didn't spend as much time together, which I guess gave her the green light to hook up with a coworker. We broke up and they immediately started dating. About a year later, they got engaged. The summer after they got engaged, I ran into her and we talked for a bit. She admitted she still had feelings for me. I told her I did too. We ended up hooking that night. I didn't actually have feelings for her anymore. And on my way home, I texted her fiancé. I had his number because he texted me and returned my stuff after the breakup, and told him I just hooked up with her. Engagement was called off and she had to move home. I don't feel bad about it at all. Rather what she has done to me. I broke up with her, and 2 weeks after the breakup, I get a message from her demanding the perfume back which she gifted me beforehand. Her explanation is that she can't get over the fact that I'm gonna meet new girls while wearing the perfume which she chose for me. I obliged and sent it to her, and in the same turn asked back 2 of my newly acquired and damned expensive hoodies which she kinda stole from me. She sent me back a picture of them burning. What a wah! I hope this is recently and that you have receipts for those hoodies, because you could probably take her to small claims court for the value of those hoodies, considering she literally sent evidence of her destroying them. He cheated on me with a coworker. I woke up one morning because his phone was blowing up and saw all the texts. So a few nights later I got drunk, emptied my cat's litter box into a bag, went to his place. He lived a few doors down and roommates were home. Pulled back his covers and dumped the contents onto his bed. Politely put the comforter back on and left. Call me crazy. But I was young and dumb, in a new town where nobody knew me, so had nothing to lose. And she was ugly anyway, so fuck 'em lol. Can I answer this for my ex? 4 years into our relationship, I found out she was cheating. I kicked her out of our apartment that night. It was hard because I was so in love with her. So over the next few months, I believed she quit seeing him and started to talk to her. I gave her all of the passwords to my streaming services because she said she was bored, because all she did was go to school and work and then go home. One day she came over to see me. She left her Apple Watch and I went through the messages. She was in a full-on relationship with him after cheating on me, Abe, then spending months trying to convince me she changed. I then went on all my accounts to kick her off of them. When I checked the devices, I found she logged onto them on an Xbox in the town where the guy she cheated on me with lives. So not only did she cheat on me, but then she continued lying to me and leading me on while still seeing the guy, and then used my accounts on his Xbox. Some people have no shame. Reported them to the IRS after divorce because they lied about paying bills and got us foreclosed on. When I moved out, the spare bedroom was being rented out and her brother was living with her and paying rent. She pocketed the money and didn't pay the mortgage, and since I know all her personal info, I sent all of that to the IRS. I found out this girl I was dating was married and living with her husband and had kids with him, so I noped out. She kept trying to contact me. One day she asked for money like $1,500 to pay rent. I kept telling her, "Oh yeah, I'll get it to you. Let me just withdraw some bonds and savings, it'll take a few days." Then kept making up stories why it was taking so long. Of course I never sent her anything. Honestly hope she got evicted. We separated and I needed to get my things from our house, but I didn't want him there pissing me off saying fucked up shit to me. I had a giant Goliath bird eating tarantula, and he was terrified of it. I showed up and let it go while he was at work, then left. He texted me that somehow the thing got loose and he refused to stay at the house and wanted me to hunt it down, so I got to gather my shit in peace and left it roaming around for a few weeks until I was done, feeling mean, and went and caught it and put it back in its cage. In that moment, I was really upset that he was taking the house I worked super hard for, but came to terms that I was the real winner because he didn't want the kids and I did, so I got them. Went into her email and changed her settings to Spanish. Her account was linked to her parents, so I set theirs to Spanish too. Her whole family was racist as hell, and by the time we split, they hated me too. I hope they couldn't figure out how to change the language back. I'm not a very vindictive person, but I am a little petty. One ex had this super soft feather pillow that he never let me use. He'd had it forever. I could sit on the couch with it and stuff, but at bedtime, it was his. When I was moving out, he made a vague gesture at the side of the living room with the TV, consoles, computers, and stuff and said, "This is mine, take whatever else you want." It's been 13 years, and that pillow is sitting on my couch right now. I sleep with it every night. It's a very good pillow. Another ex was super hung up on my online activity to the point that he installed a keylogger on our shared PC to spy on me. Was really jealous that I shared an interest in things like building computers with a neighbor, and obviously that meant I was fucking the neighbor, because he didn't understand it. That wasn't in his interests. So when I was moving out, I took the entire PC apart and left all the components, cables, and screws laid out on the bed. He had to hire someone to put it all back together because even though the neighbor would have been nice enough to do it for free, he'd burned that bridge. Not me, my buddy. We were going somewhere. He was driving, she was in the passenger seat, and I'm in the back. They are arguing the whole time. She's just going off about whatever she was pissed about that day, and he was just ignoring her. So she finally pulls the, "Just let me out of the car." So he stopped, she got out, slammed the door, and started leaning back into the window to keep arguing, and he just drove off. We were about 5 miles from the place they lived. I asked if he was going to swing around, and he said, "Nope." I jumped in the front seat, and we continued on our way. She walked home, pissed off and sweaty. This was pre-cell phones.